Welcome back to another Sunday walk video. It's another rainy and chilly Sunday, kind of like the market sentiment right now. So let's talk about what to expect in the final 2 days of December. Let's reflect a little bit upon 2024, what I think is going to happen in 2025, and also what I'm DCAing right now. All right, so first of all, let's talk about December overall. So what happened to the Christmas rally, the Santa rally? Well, unfortunately, I guess we didn't see much of one. Well, not yet at least. We still have 2 days left. We still have Monday and Tuesday, and we'll see what happens, right? Like I've said before, it's not over until it's over. So until we hit January, we still got 2 days left of this month for Bitcoin and crypto to make some moves. So this weekend, we really didn't see a whole lot happen. Last week, we didn't see a whole lot happen. Actually, since December, since Christmas, we actually went down. I mean, like Christmas Eve or a little bit before Christmas Eve, we saw Bitcoin go from like 94,000, roughly where we are now, go all the way up, touched upon 100K, and then fell back to where we are again. Right now, it does seem like, you know, there's just a lot of selling, some kind of suppression going on, right? Could be year-end selling from Wall Street due to rebalancing portfolio, due to tax harvesting, due to, I don't know, just profit taking, whatever. But, oh, and also Mt. Gox. Mt. Gox been moving a lot, right? I don't know, due to those things, due to geopolitical things. I don't know what's going on in South Korea and their like president situation and all the impeachment stuff going on. You know, whatever the case may be, or cases that are adding up to what we're seeing, we haven't seen a Christmas rally. We haven't seen a December rally. We had a pretty good 3-month stretch from September to October to November. We had a fantastic November. And December, we're kind of flat right now, right? We didn't have a bad December. It's not like we're like negative 20% in December. If you look at Bitcoin's performance, we're like right around zero. So it's not like we had a bad month. It's just that we didn't have a good month, which in itself is disappointing, right? So it is what it is. But again, like I've been saying, we got 2 days left. So the next 2 days, we'll see what happens. It's not over until it's over. We could see more of the same, which is a whole lot of nothing. Or we can see some tremendous moves that leads us into a new year. Now, based on history, looking at the last two halving years, 2020 and 2016, we did see some tremendous moves. We saw tremendous moves in December leading into January. And in January, we saw even more tremendous moves. And we also saw that in 2023. So what changed this time around? Well, I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but we're already ahead of the cycle. If you look at 2020, if you look at December of 2020, did we break through the previous high of the prior cycle? Which means if you look at December of 2020, did we break through the high of 2017? Well, if you look at it, I don't recall the exact time. I think it was right around then. We just broke it, right? Like we were coming up and then we just broke it around that time. And if you look at the prior cycle in 2016, we didn't break the previous high from 2013 in 2016 until right around that December and then January 2017 for the first time, right? So normally in a cycle, right around that December, January time frame is when Bitcoin breaks through the prior high of the prior cycle. That's how it normally goes. And then in the final year, for example, in 2017 or in 2021, after you break through the prior high, then you have that year of that growth, right? Well, this year, in 2024, the halving year, obviously, this has not been a normal year. We broke through our prior high of 69,000 formed in 2021. We broke through that in March. Okay, so we did that. That was the first in history where we broke through the prior high before even the halving event. That has never happened before. So that was a first. And then we trended along from March all the way till, October basically, right? We trended along, we went sideways, and you could argue maybe we even dipped a little bit, but it was quite boring for like 6 months of this year. And many people were complaining, 6-7 months, people were complaining, oh, why aren't we moving? Why, was that 73,000 the top, right? A lot of people turned bearish. And I had to explain, like, hey, we were just ahead of the cycle. ETFs changed the game. ETFs and all the enthusiasm and all the buying and the supply shock pushed us really high, really fast ahead of the cycle. So that's why we broke through so fast in March. And then we just consolidated for an entire, most of the entire year for 7 months until what happened, right? October, we start picking up again. We broke into the 70s. And guess what happened in November? We broke through 73,000 and we never looked back. We kind of just skipped through the 80s and we went to the 90s and then we went to 100,000+, a mark that we never thought, or a lot of people never thought we would ever hit, right? So we're definitely ahead of the game. We were never supposed to break through 69,000 or 70,000 or be at 90,000 until like 2025. So we're already really ahead. So for people that are wondering, well, why didn't we go up in December? If I had to say why, it's because of that. If you're looking at prior cycles, we were not supposed to be this high until 2025, but we kind of just got used to it. We got used to the fact in November we broke through into the 90s, and then we had a lot of good days, and earlier in December we broke into the hundreds, and we got used to that. The first 2 weeks of December was crazy, right? Every single day it seemed like we were breaking the new high, and I was streaming, and it's like, yeah, today we broke to 103, next day we broke to 104, next day we broke to 105, next day we broke to 106, next day we broke to 107, and then next day we broke to 108. Every single day we were forming a new high, right? We did that for a whole week. So the first 2 weeks of December was absolutely great. And I think people forgot about that. It's just the last 2 weeks, or a week and a half, we kind of turned backwards a little bit. But hey, let's not forget, the first 2 weeks of this month was absolutely fantastic. And let's not forget how good November was. So, bottom line is, we didn't see the Christmas rally or Santa rally was probably because we already had it. We were already ahead of the game. So that's really it. We got 2 more days. Like I said, anything can happen. Right before Christmas, we shot up from 94,000 to 100,000. We can still do that tomorrow and on Tuesday. There's no reason why we can't go right back up to 100 and even beyond that before the new year. Does it mean we will? No. We could go sideways. We could even trend down more as, you know, more profit taking or tax harvesting happens. Just don't know at this point. But am I bullish for 2025? Hell yeah, you guys know that. There's no reason to be bearish at 90,000 plus Bitcoin. I've said that any dip at this point is a gift, whether you believe that or not. So many people have turned bearish all of a sudden, and we've only gone down for what, 2 weeks, a week and a half. Again, I think people forgot about how great it was the first 2 weeks of December. So the sentiment has changed really, really quickly. Yeah, I'm super bullish about 2025. Those of you guys that have listened to me, you know, periodically or every single day, you guys know why I'm bullish about the landscape that's going to change for crypto, especially in the US, right? It's a big change, big change. All the things that are coming up, all the promises that Trump is making, all the new appointees, and just everything that's being talked about, but also on a global scale. All the countries now that are getting ready to adopt, they're FOMOing, so to speak, because they're also looking at what the US is about to do, right? And besides that, the supply shock that I've been talking about forever, it's really building. Everything I've been talking to you guys about, what Saylor is now doing, he's going crazy. I'm not even saying crazy in a good way, because I think a lot of you guys are now starting to share concerns once again. Saylor at times will do some questionable things. We're going through one of those times now. I know a lot of people love Saylor because he's like a die-hard Bitcoin guy, but he's like leveraging out MicroStrategy in a big way to buy more Bitcoin, starting to make some people scratch their heads whether or not this is the right move. He is going hardcore. He has double the amount of Bitcoin MicroStrategy has within the last like 2 months, and he has done that by just leveraging MicroStrategy and his shares and issuing more shares, selling more shares, and just rinse and repeat by putting down collateral, Bitcoin as collateral, and issuing more shares and selling more shares, and again rinsing and repeating. And a little scary, but anyways, you just look at how much Bitcoin he's buying. He now holds more than 2% of the supply. Look at how much the ETFs are buying, especially BlackRock, which now also BlackRock itself holds above 2% themselves. If you look at cumulative, all the ETFs is over 5%. And then if you think about the US is planning on buying 5%, the other countries are buying, other companies are buying. The supply shock is real. The ethos of Bitcoin is supposed to be decentralization, right? But now we're starting to see so many large entities come in buying large chunks. Short term, it's going to be great. It's going to drive prices higher. So that's why, again, next year, along with all the changes that's coming up, I think we're going to see huge price appreciation for Bitcoin. The long term, man, kind of scary to think about these entities taking up so much of the supply, right? But that's why I've been telling you guys, grab as much sats, satoshis as you can right now before these guys take it all. But anyways, yeah, so I'm really bullish about next year. As for what I'm DCAing, besides Bitcoin, which I will always DCA no matter what, some new people that are watching this or watching me daily might be asking or thinking, is it too late to get into Bitcoin? No. 90,000 plus it may seem like the upside is very limited at this point. Like, oh, how high can Bitcoin go at 90,000 plus? Maybe for this cycle, you know, Bitcoin is limited to 2 to 3x. You just never know. With the supply shock and with FOMO among countries and all the new pro regulations, even in this cycle, it could be a 3 or 4x. And that's just this cycle. Think long term, 5 years, 10 years out, 20 years out, Bitcoin's upper potential is boundless. It's endless. Because Bitcoin has set supply and the halving event keeps cutting the inflation rate by half every 4 years, there's no upper limit. It's just like anything that's priceless out there, right? When you have a priceless commodity that's out there, there's no top for its price. That's how I see Bitcoin. That's how a lot of people see Bitcoin. That's one of the reasons why Sailor continues to load up and so many others are now turning to Bitcoin. It's really now being seen as a hedge against inflation and one of the greatest store of values one could put their money into. So, is it too late to get into Bitcoin? No. The upside, if you could hold it for 10 years, which isn't that long if you think about it because time flies. If you can hold it for 10 years, the upside to Bitcoin could still be a 10 to 20x. It doesn't mean that's going to slow down. That's still pretty good upside. Now, as for the alts, the good thing is a lot of alts seems to have stabilized. You know, for example, one of my favorite Solana, right? Seems to have stabilized around the 190s mark. Low 190s, upper between 190 and 193. That's fantastic. You know, obviously Solana, after breaking its high of 260, it's been trending down a little bit throughout this month. But now, I think it's quite attractive where it is. I still think Solana's going to do great. Nothing has changed fundamentally. In fact, I think it's gotten stronger. So 2025, I think Solana's still going to do well. So I'm going to load up more on Solana. But you look at others, you know, like I talked about loading up more on Sui. They seem to have bottomed out. They were really, really hot. I'm glad to see that they have cooled down a little bit. They're right around 410-ish right now. I wouldn't even mind if they go down more because they've just been so hot, right? But I think Sui's going to continue to do well in 2025. And if they could settle where they are or even go down even more, I wouldn't mind because they've been so hot. This is a good time to be looking at them. But others that have, you know, they have consolidated now, like XRP, you know, when they were skyrocketing and so hot, everyone was like FOMOing left and right. But now they have like consolidated right around the 210 mark, 210 to 215. Hey, that's not bad. When I finally converted myself, it was like around 170s, right? It was still very hot back then, like going from like 50 cents to $1 to $1.50, right? It was just going up forever. It went all the way up to $3. Now that it's like consolidated around 210, 215, it's good spot. Good spot. And several of the others that were very hot around that time, like Cardano, Hedera, they all have like leveled out where they are. Same thing if you look at like a lot of the AI plays that were very, very hot, they cooled off. So one of the reasons why I think a lot of people, and I know why, not I'm speculating, one of the reasons why I think so many people got really bearish in December in the last 2 weeks is not because of Bitcoin. It's really because of the alts. A lot of these alts have cooled off. They're consolidating, and like I've been saying, if you love these alts when they were skyrocketing, when people were FOMOing, you should love them more now, right? AI is going to be a big narrative in 2025. There's going to be no doubt about it, right? So a lot of these AI plays that were very, very, very hot, you should love them now. Like some of the ones I mentioned in the DePIN space. For example, Render, for example, right? BitTensor was another one. I mentioned like Flux. Also, you have like Singularity. You have a lot of these. Near is a layer one that's kind of involved in this space. You have a lot of these that are in it. Some of the smaller ones that are kind of in that space. You know, I mentioned a few of them out there. Now I'm drawing a blank, but there are so many in the AI space that have kind of like cooled off a little bit. But hey, I don't think AI is going to really cool for a long time, right? Right now they've cooled off, but like we know AI is only getting stronger and bigger, and in 2025 I think they'll come back very strong. I don't see why it wouldn't. So AI is a thing. DeFi, you know, DeFi gotten a little bit stronger. You know, like DeFi and DeFi and like RWA, you know, they're kind of like a little bit related. So recently, you notice like Chainlink, for example, Ondo, Aave, Uniswap, you know, a few others that's in that space. Lido, I mentioned like EtherFi, like a lot of these, they're kind of all related in DeFi and RWA space. You know, they were really, really, really hot. They kind of cooled off a little bit. I think a lot of them are great picks up, like Chainlink, for example. They were really hot. They went all the way up to like $31. Now they're hovering. They kind of consolidate down to like $22, $20, $21, $22. I think they're fantastic. They've been fantastic for a long time. And now, you know, they finally kind of like cooled off a little bit. Again, very heavily involved with the RWA, but they're also in DeFi because every single DeFi project uses them as Oracle. And their layer 2, their CCIP is basically used in like in so many projects. I mean, they're kind of like everywhere. So I mean, like basically what I'm trying to say is a lot of these projects that have now cooled off, right? That are now like, you know, 20, 15, 20% cheaper than before. Nothing has changed fundamentally other than they gotten cheaper. So yeah, if you're a bag holder, yes, it sucks to see your portfolio now 15, 20, 25% down. But if you've been thinking about buying or DCAing, this is a great time. Great time to be loading up or continuing your journey, because 2025 is going to be more of the same, and these projects will continue to do better. Now, there are a few categories that haven't gotten hot yet, like for example, gaming. A lot of people continue to ask about gaming, and there are gaming chains and gaming projects themselves. Metaverses, you know, haven't really seen them pick up. They definitely can. I've been waiting for resurgence with games. Haven't seen it yet, right? But they definitely could pick up. But yeah, I mean, I'm sticking with mostly the basics. Obviously, I have jumped on a few new ones. I mean, I'd say new, but you know, they've been around for a while. But I'm still staying with the bigger L1s, L2s, the projects that I know that have a great future, even though they may be big caps, but I still think they have, you know, 10x, 15x, 20x potential. There's no doubt about it. And right now is a great time to be loading up, right? So that's it, guys. Don't be discouraged, I guess is the message. I think in crypto, a lot of people live in a moment, and you kind of like forget about you kind of live in a bubble and you kind of forget about, like, I don't know, you kind of forget how good things were really quickly, right? So I guess one of my messages is don't forget how good it was in November and early December, even though the last 2 weeks may seem like they were bad weeks, but let's not forget how good things were beforehand. And those people that are calling like, oh, what happened to, you know, December rally, or what happened to Christmas rally and Santa rally, why didn't it come? Well, it's because it was so good. It was so good prior. And just because things don't happen, let's say Monday or Tuesday, let's say we don't have 2 days of rallying, right? Doesn't mean that all is lost. 2025, I still believe it's going to be a really good year, really good year. And nothing's going to change, right? So continue to stay strong, my friends. I'll still see you guys. It's not like tomorrow is January 1st. I'll see you guys tomorrow, bright and early, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We'll see how the market reacts. But overall, I think there are still some great pickups right now, especially at these prices. And overall, the theme is don't get discouraged. I think end of the year, unfortunately, we didn't see some of the great moves or pumps like what we saw from previous cycles, but it's just because it's been so good so far, right? All right, that's it. Enough of me rambling on. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow, like I said, bright and early, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, and have a good one. Bye-bye.